Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a full face of Patrick Ta Beauty. I've done this before, but it's been a little while. It's been probably 6 months or more since my last video like this, and I wanted to do this today because I did get 2 more of his eyeshadow duos and I just got them in the mail. I already had one that I picked up from Sephora, and I have a ton of Patrick Ta's products. I'm a huge Patrick Ta fan, so I figured we could just kind of use this as a full face opportunity, and I'm gonna apply the eyeshadows, talk to you about them, and that is today's video. If you are new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on my channel. We would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. And let's just get into the makeup. I've already done my skincare and my SPF and all of that. And I did just apply a little bit of this primer. Now, typically I have issues with primers, but this is one of the very few primers that I don't typically have issues with. This is the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer. And I've never tried this primer with the Patrick Ta foundation. So I did it just in the T-zone today, just kind of as an experiment. So hopefully that goes well. So that I do have on my skin, just kind of right in this area, a little bit on the forehead and the chin. Now let's get into foundation. I have his original foundation, which is the cream foundation, but today I'm going to use his newest one. This is the Major Skin Hydra-Luxe Luminous Foundation. This came out earlier this year, and it's a very polarizing foundation. People either love it or do not like it at all. This is the shade 10, and it's a really nice neutral undertone, which I love. But the reason I wanted to try the Rare Beauty primer with this is because this foundation is incredibly hydrating. It is honestly like more skincare, to be honest, in my opinion, than it is like a true foundation. It has pigment, obviously, but I would definitely say it has a lot of hydration and skincare in it. I think from what I read, it has like 3 different forms of hyaluronic acid in it, all kinds of things. So it's very, very, very glowy and hydrating. So I haven't tried it with this Rare Beauty primer, and I'm just kind of curious, to be honest. So I'm gonna start applying this on my face. Now this foundation is also pretty light in coverage. I would say it's like a light medium at the most. I don't think you can even get like a true medium coverage out of this. It's more of like a skin tint, tinted moisturizer type of product to me. We will add some concealer anywhere where I want some more coverage, but I wanted to just start with a light layer of this. And I'm actually using a different brush than what I typically use. This is the N17 from BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose. So I pumped out about like 1 pump on the back of my hand. It spreads quite a bit. It's pretty liquidy, so you really don't need a ton of it. So I honestly probably could have gotten away with like half a pump for my whole face, but I'm just lightly applying this, and then I'm gonna look up close and hopefully nothing weird is happening with that primer. All right, I'm looking up close and the foundation looks perfect over that Rare Beauty primer. I don't know what it is, but this is one of the only primers that I can use with anything and it doesn't pill. I don't know why, but this primer is one of the only ones I can say that about. So I'm glad I tried that out so that I know. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some color corrector. Patrick Ta does not have a color corrector or a concealer, and I am waiting on the day for that to happen. But for now, they do not have that product. So I'm just gonna use what I have in my everyday makeup drawer for this month, which is my Sigma corrector. What I did want to point out about the Patrick Ta foundation is I would definitely say it is going to be best suited for normal to dry skin. If you have really oily skin, skip that one. It's going to be too hydrating for you. If you have combo skin, I would only recommend it if you like a really dewy look to your foundation and you don't mind having to really powder a product to get it to last. But overall, I would say it's going to be best for normal to dry skin. I just let that sit for about a minute or so, and now I'm just going to tap that into the skin under my eyes. He does not have a concealer, like I said, so I'm going to apply a little bit of Makeup by Mario concealer. This one is the shade 190, and I'm going to use some of that on my face as well, just to add a little bit more coverage, because like I said, that Patrick Ta foundation is pretty light in terms of the coverage. I also pulled out my little Shape Tape here from Tarte. I'm going to add just a little bit of this under the eyes as well. This is the shade 22B, and I'm using the N14 from BK Beauty to blend that in. I'm gonna try to do this pretty quickly because I just remembered this Mario concealer dries really quick, so I don't typically apply it all over and let it sit because it kind of starts to self-set almost immediately. So I'm gonna blend this out very quickly. All right, moving into bronzer. So Patrick Ta has his bronzer duos, much like his blush duos. He has bronzers as well. I have two different shades. This is the shade She's Sculpted. I use this one more than the other one. This one has a cooler toned cream, and then the powder is a little bit warmer. The other one that I have is She's Bronzed, and She's Bronzed has a warm cream and a warm powder. So I typically use She's Sculpted a little bit more, unless it's like the dead of summer and I have a good bit of color in my skin, then I can use She's Bronzed, but I typically use She's Sculpted when I use these. I don't use the bronzer duos as much as I use the blush duos, and I don't really have a reason for that. I just don't reach for them as much, but they're good. I mean, it's very similar in terms of formula to the blush duos. So I'll swatch these two for you. All right, so we've got She's Sculpted on the top with the cream and the powder, and then She's Bronzed on the bottom. So you can see the cream and She's Sculpted is just a little bit cooler than She's Bronzed. Honestly, the powders aren't that different from each other. It's mainly the cream where you get majority of the difference. For today, I'm going to use She's Sculpted. So I'm first going to go in here with the cream, and I actually have this brush from Patrick Ta, and I never use it, but we're going to use it today. This is the contour brush. So you can see it has this really interesting like flat side here, and then this side is just more of a standard like fluffy, slightly angled brush. But this side was made for these bronzer and contour duos, and I never really use it. So I figure we could use it today. So I'm gonna go into the cream side with this, and I'm gonna kind of get it on there, but then I'm gonna make sure I tap it off on my hand here, because this shade for my skin tone can be like a little bit dark. So, and basically the idea, or how he explains it, is you can literally just take it and bounce it on. So there is She's Sculpted in the cream. Obviously I need to kind of blend it a little bit, but that's how the side of this brush was meant to be used. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I know he has a lighter shade that's beneath She's Sculpted. I don't know why I didn't get that one. I don't really remember. All right, y'all, my memory card just filled up and I did not realize it. So I'm not sure exactly where I stopped, but I'm just taking my brush, which is the Nikki LaRose N17 brush, and I'm just kind of bouncing like super lightly over that contour just to kind of blend the edges there. And then I also, earlier I think it cut off where I took whatever was left on this brush and I just went around my hairline with it. All right, before we move into blush, I am going to take a little bit of the powder right here. And I'm gonna use the other side of that brush, which is much larger and fluffier. So I'm getting it on there, but I'm then gonna really tap it off because I do not want a ton of bronzer. I just want to lightly kind of basically like set it in place. All right, moving into my favorite Patrick Ta product. Of course, the blushes. I have pretty much every single shade, and I was trying to decide which one to use for this video. I love them all, but one of my favorites is definitely one of the newer ones, and it's also the most neutral for my skin tone. So I think I'm going to go with this one just because I don't know exactly what I'm doing on my eyes, and this color works with pretty much everything. So we're going to go with this one. This is Not Too Much. It is one of his newer shades that came out earlier this year, and it is perfection in my mind. The shade, it's just perfect. So this is the cream and that is the powder. And Not Too Much. It's like a warmer pinky nude and it's beautiful. Now, if you know anything about the Patrick Ta duos, they are very pigmented, just like the bronzers, the blushes are as well. I do have his blush brush, so you get an angled end right here that's more dense, and then you get just kind of a standard fluffy powder brush on the other end. So I'm going to use the powder first because that's how he typically applies his creams. I'm really going to tap this off a lot because these are pigmented and I don't want to get too much. So I've got some here, but I'm going to kind of tap it off again. And I do this a few times with this brush just to make sure I don't go overboard. Just lightly apply because we are going to use a little bit of the cream on top. So I want to keep this pretty light. So trying to make sure I don't go overboard, but that is Not Too Much. And then I'm going to flip the brush to the cream side and I'm going to get the cream there and do the same thing, just kind of tap it off. And then I'm just gonna lightly tap over that powder. And it just brings back that little bit of a glow that you get from a cream product, but it's not, you know, glittery or shimmery or anything. But that is one of my favorite blushes in my whole collection. I also love She's That Girl from Patrick Ta, which is a brighter pink. It's like a warm, bright pink. And that is actually the one I loved the most for a long time until he released his 3 new shades earlier this year. And then I started really using this one, which is Not Too Much. But She's That Girl has been a favorite since probably the beginning of my YouTube channel, honestly, or close to it. All right, so I'm doing the same thing over here. All right, he did also launch earlier this year the Major Glow Cream and Powder Highlighter Duos. I have 2 of them. Now these were not received very well. I don't really know what's going on with these. When I've been in Sephora at the Patrick Ta counter, this whole section in almost every store I've been in is totally empty. So I don't know, because of the issues people were having, maybe they have taken these off the market. I don't know if they're reformulating or what, but this was one of the shades. This was Baby, which is obviously like a baby doll pink. I'm not really sure what the controversy really was on this. I know that there were some people saying their cream like kind of melted or something, like it did something weird or it looked weird after they'd used it or swatched it or whatever. I haven't really noticed anything weird with mine. I'm gonna swatch this one just so you can see, but this is definitely not my favorite product he's ever released. I'll go ahead and show you this one. So this one's the shade Baby. So there is the cream and then the powder is above there. So it's pretty subtle, as you can see, but I mean, they're pretty. I'm gonna do the powder. So this one here, I'm gonna use an FO3 from Sigma. I really don't need any of this, honestly, because I have that powder or that cream blush over there, but I figured we'll use just a little bit of this since this is a full face of Patrick Ta. The gloss or the cream is definitely on the sticky side also, so I know a lot of people didn't love that about the cream in here. It's pretty thick and definitely pretty sticky. Now, before we move into the eye products, I'm gonna do my brows. I'm gonna use some powder on my face, which he doesn't make a powder, and he does make brow products. I do not have those. That's actually one of the only products I have not tried from him is the brow pencil. I've tried the lamination gel, the brow gel. That one's not my favorite. It's a little too intense of a hold and like a laminated look for me. And then he also has the brow wax, which years ago I used that. That was like my favorite thing ever, but I don't have those anymore. So I'm gonna do this stuff quickly off camera just to save some time. And then I'll come back and we'll move into all the fun eye products. All right, let's move into the eyeshadows. So I already had one of the eyeshadow duos. I picked this up during the Sephora sale. This one is Talk to My Team. I did apply this on my eyes in my Sephora sale try-on video, but this one is basically the really basic champagne, and then this one is more of like a duochrome. It's pink and gold and even a little bit on the brown side depending on how you look at it, but I really wanted the deepest shade, so I did order that from Patrick Ta's website. This one is Still at the Club. This was the one I wanted the most, and this one sold out like immediately the first day of the Sephora sale before I could order it. So this is Still at the Club. So they're deeper, kind of taupey, minky browns. So I'm gonna swatch this one. I haven't swatched this yet. So that is the swatch on my finger. These are, I know some people, are saying that they're overpriced. I think they're absolutely stunning, and they are such a nice, high quality formula. So that's Still at the Club. That one is obviously more like the wet, kind of iridescent looking topper, and then this is more of like a straight brown metallic, but it's so creamy, so buttery. That one's so pretty. I'm glad that I ordered that one. And then I did end up ordering another one because when I ordered from Patrick Ta, they were doing a promo where if you spent, I think it was $100, you could get one of his lipsticks for free, and the color of the lipstick was one that I really wanted, so I wanted to spend enough so that I could get that one. So I also got We Need Better Lighting, which is the silver and the gold. And I just thought these would be kind of nice toppers to have. They could really pair with anything. You would have a cooler and a warmer. So there are those two on my fingers. So that one is We Need Better Lighting. So you can see both of those are really wet, reflective looking shadows. They're not like a straight metallic like this one from the deeper one, but those are the two that I ordered. And then I'll go ahead and swatch the other one for you that I've already used just so you could see it as well. So there are the finger swatches of Talk to My Team, and so there are all the swatches. So this one is Talk to My Team. There's the more like pinky gold, like duochrome down there. That one's the champagne. Then we have We Need Better Lighting, and Still at the Club is on the top there. All right, I am gonna swatch them all on my eyes so you can see them, and then we'll do like the actual eye look that I was gonna do, but I wanna show you each one on my eyes so you can see. So we're gonna start with We Need Better Lighting, which is this one. And I'm just gonna use my finger with these. That's how I did when I used the Talk to My Team shade in the other video. And I'm just taking my finger and tapping this on my eye. So that is obviously the more silver one. But I mean, if you like a wet look, this will give you that for sure. And then I'm gonna do the gold on the other eye. I mean, these are just, I will go to bat for these. These are absolutely beautiful. Anyone saying that they're not, I just don't agree. I just don't agree. And that's okay. We all have different opinions, different likes and dislikes, but these are just absolutely stunning to me. So this is We Need Better Lighting. And unfortunately today it's like pouring down rain. There is no sun, so I can't get a natural light clip of these. So I'm sorry about that, but it's literally dark and gloomy and raining outside. But hopefully you can see okay here. I'll turn the brightness down a little bit, which maybe that will help, I don't know. But I can just see myself using both of these on top of literally any eyeshadow that I have in my collection, just like tapping a little bit of these on top. So I do think this is a good duo to have. So I'm happy that I did get this one. All right, I'm gonna remove these and then we'll move into the next one. Finally got that one off. And I didn't say this before, but I have been applying this Sigma eye base on my eyes just to make sure I even out any discoloration so it doesn't interfere with the colors of the shadows. So let's move into Still at the Club, which this one, just when I saw the photos of this one, it's just, oh, it's so pretty. So let's apply this and see what we think. All right, so that one is the more reflective one, obviously. And I'm just using my finger with these, so they may not look like totally perfect, but that one is just so pretty. I don't know what it is about that, but the reflect in there almost looks, it's like white, but then it also looks a little bit blue, a little bit. Very, very pretty. Let me just grab a clean blending brush and I'm just gonna kind of feather around the edges. I mean, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna take this off, but just so you can kind of see. I mean, I just think that one is so pretty. I was thinking when I saw it at first, it kind of reminded me of Dior Beige Mitza, which I'll get that out in a minute and swatch it. But now that I see it in person, I don't think it's like that at all. But that is a really beautiful color. And then we'll do the more brown one. And again, with this one, it's gonna be kind of hard to apply because this one is more of like an opaque, creamy, metallic. And then I'm just gonna use that same brush. So this brush doesn't have anything on it, it's clean. And we'll just kind of buff out the edges a little. I think these two like used together in the same eye look would be so pretty. I also haven't been setting the eye base underneath, so just keep that in mind, but that one is Still at the Club. It's interesting that in this duo, he did a more like standard metallic and then one of the really wet reflective shades because he didn't really do that in any of the other ones. But those, I mean, they're so pretty. So, so pretty. Let me turn the light down again in case that helps you see it all. And finally, I'll go ahead and apply these again. I did apply it in my Sephora haul try-on video, so if you've seen this, I'm sorry, but I want to at least show in case maybe you didn't see that video. So this one is Talk to My Team. So that is the more just champagne shade. So it's a little bit warmer than the silver in We Need Better Lighting. This one's more of like a true champagne. And then this one is the duochrome that looks kind of pink and kind of gold, even a little bit like brown depending on how you look at it. But that one is Talk to My Team. There they are with the light turned down a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these one more time because my eyes are getting irritated, and then we'll go ahead and do like an actual eye look. All right, let's get into an actual eye look now. So I think I'm gonna start with a little bit of the cream from Sculpted, which is what we used on my face. And I'm gonna take just like a tiny bit of that, like I barely have any product on here. And I'm gonna just add a little bit of that in the crease. And I'm getting just like really small amount of it just because that's what we used on the face and I want it to be really cohesive. So I'm gonna apply a really thin amount of that. All right, he has 3 different eyeshadow palettes, as you may know, and I pulled out his most recent one, which is the matte palette. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this shade right here, which is just a kind of a lighter, cooler toned brown. This palette is nice because it's all matte, but it has a row of warm shades and a row of cool shades. So you really get anything that you could possibly need in this palette, truly. So I'm taking that shade with the N13 brush from BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose. And I'm gonna kind of apply this starting in the outer corner and then kind of pulling it over that cream shade that we used. And I just realized I didn't do the comparison to Dior Beige Mitza like I was talking about earlier. So I'll do that in a minute after I kind of figure out where I'm going with this eye look. His matte shades are really, really nice. They are very blendable and just easy. You really can't screw them up. Very similar to Makeup by Mario's matte shades. All right, while I'm thinking about it, this one here is the single shadow from Dior in Beige Mitza, and then this is Still at the Club from Patrick Ta. So I would actually say Beige Mitza is a little bit more neutral. These are a little bit cooler, taupier, like ashier browns. This one's a little bit more of like a neutral kind of metallic bronze, but I was initially thinking this was going to be similar to this, but it's really not, honestly. So if you were wondering, there is a comparison. This metallic one down here, so this deeper brown from Still at the Club, that one is more of a very creamy metallic, and that's what this feels like, the Dior Beige Mitza. This one is a little bit more, it's not as creamy. It's a little bit piecier feeling, if that makes sense, when you apply it, just because it has all of that really fine pearl in it. These texture-wise feel a little bit more similar, but if you were wondering, there you go. I'm switching to an A504 from BK Beauty, which is a really, really tiny blending brush. I'm gonna mix a little bit of these 2 browns. So the next 2, we went with this one first. I'm gonna mix those 2 there. I just got like a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm just applying those right in this outer corner with that brush. Not much at all, just little tiny bit. And then I'm taking that first N13 we used, and I'm just gonna lightly kind of feather over it, but I'm like barely touching my eye. All right, I'm trying to decide which of these toppers I want to use. They're all so pretty, I really don't know. I think we're gonna use 2 of them because I can't pick one here. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Still at the Club, but I'm gonna do this really pretty, like wet looking one. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this, so not a ton. And I'm gonna kind of tap it over here, like next to where we just placed those other 2 darker colors. So like right next to it basically, but I'm not gonna go in the inner part of the eye. That shade is so pretty. It really, really is. And then I'm just gonna kind of take my brush and kind of fluff around it just to make sure it kind of all blends together. So these shadows from Patrick Ta, depending on how much of them you are applying, it kind of changes the effect. So like I barely touched in the pan there. I mean, I got some product, but I didn't get a ton of it. And I got, you know, some pigment, but not like a ton of pigment. You can also just like barely tap into the pan and get more of like a scattered effect, kind of like the Urban Decay Moon Dust shadows, kind of like that. So they are pretty customizable, which is really nice, but I just want to use as many as I can so you can see them. Okay, and then I'm gonna take, I guess I'm gonna do this one from Talk to My Team, this here, because I don't know if I want to go super silver or super gold, even though they'd probably be pretty. I don't know. Maybe I want to use, we need better lighting now that I think about it. Maybe I want to use one of these and use it like more like scattered on this inner part of the eye. All right, let's do, I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm going to take a little bit of the gold here. So I just got like a little bit of it. Do you see it there? And I'm just gonna, yeah, so when you do it like that, you get more of like a scattered kind of effect, not such like opaque wetness. So I literally barely touched that area. It's kind of hard to get in here with my finger, but. And I'm gonna do something else also. I mean, I really need to stop here, but I'm gonna go back into the Still at the Club, and I'm gonna use the brown. And I'm gonna try to kind of line my eyes with this, like not precisely or anything, but I don't know. I just kind of wanna try it. I'm gonna try actually to use, well, actually, these mirrors are nice, but they're kind of too small to be able to see that well. I mean, I guess you could definitely use them if you're in like a pinch and you needed something, but they're a little bit on the small side. But I'm gonna kind of take that shade really lightly and just kind of go along the lash line with it. And I'm not gonna go all the way in, I'm gonna go to like the middle of the eye. I'm just playing at this point. All right, and then I'll take brush we used first, that big fluffy brush, and just kind of go over it. So you can use that shade as liner. I mean, it's not gonna be like a precise, like winged look, like a liquid liner or anything, but you can kind of use that as a liner in that duo, which is nice. Because that's really the only duo that has a shade like this. Something else I will say about this formula, which this tells you a lot about the quality. You saw how many times I took these shadows on and off and how many times I applied them with my finger. And I have got literally no fallout on my face. So, I mean, I'll just be the one to say here, these shadows, if it's something that you think you would use, I do not think you would be disappointed in these. The quality is absolutely stunning, in my opinion. Are they expensive? Yes, but so are a lot of other single eyeshadows from more luxurious brands. So the price, I think, is like on point. It does not bother me at all. I did also want to mention, and I'll look into this before this video goes up, but when I ordered these from Patrick Ta, I was able to find a 15% off code to use. And it did work. I don't remember what the code was, but I'll go back and find it and see if it works. So if you did want to order these, since they're out of stock on Sephora, you could still save 15%, which is nice because these are more on the expensive side. But I'll go back and see if I can find that code. For the lower lash line, I'm just gonna mix a little bit of these that we used from the palette. And then let's see, what else can I do? I'm gonna take that same little pencil brush and I'm gonna do just a little bit of that metallic shade out here and kind of flick it up to connect to the upper lash line. All right, I do not have, believe it or not, the Patrick Ta brown eyeliner, so I'm just gonna use this one from Makeup by Mario, and I'm gonna line the upper waterline with this because I think it kind of pulls this eye look together. All right, one of the other products I did order that I've never tried is the Patrick Ta mascara. I've tried pretty much every product. I think now the only thing I haven't tried is the brow pencil. I've tried pretty much everything else, but this was the other thing I have not tried. So this is his Major Volume Mascara. The wand looks like that. It's kind of it's not a rubber wand. It has like actual fibers. Looks like a pretty standard wand. I just curled this eye and let's use this. I was just kind of curious and I figured since I was ordering, I might as well try it out. Okay, so this is more of a dry mascara formula. But it's giving a lot of length actually. It only comes in black, unfortunately. It does not come in brown. So there is one coat. Pretty lengthening, I would say. I don't know how much volume I think it gives, but I do think it's adding some length. I'm gonna add one more coat. Ooh, okay, that added a lot. So definitely the second coat was key. Okay, yeah, so the second coat made a big difference actually. A lot of length and I would say thickness. Nice. I don't ever hear anyone talk about this mascara, so that's kind of another reason why I was curious about it, because I don't know that I've ever seen anyone using it in a video. Finally, moving into lips. Okay. He does have lip liners. I had one and I ordered one. So these are his Precision lip crayons and they have an angled tip to them. It's kind of hard to see, but kind of interesting. You do click them up. I have already the shade She's Proud, which is that right there. It's a nice kind of neutral pinky nude, but I ordered the shade She's Strong because I think they described this as like a neutral, like almond brown. And yeah, this color is really pretty. And I figured I could try a different shade. So that is She's Strong and She's Proud. So She's Proud just has a little bit more pink in it. This one's more of like a true brown. Let's do the new one first, which is She's Strong. The only thing with these is once you click them up, you can't click them down. So you don't want to over click because you can't retract it. So that's something to keep in mind with these. But it's actually a really nice, smooth, almost like velvety feeling liner. I really like that color. I'm not gonna use the other one. I love that actually. So again, that one is the shade She's Strong. Really, really nice brown. Now, the lipstick. Okay, I already own 2 of his lipsticks, but the one that came free with the order was the shade Blushing, and I have always wanted this shade because I see him on Instagram use this on a ton of people, and every time he uses it, I always think, oh my gosh, I love that shade on the lips. So let me swatch this for you. So that is the shade Blushing in his Major Suede lipstick. So these are matte lipsticks, obviously, but I will say his matte lipstick formula is pretty comfortable for a matte lipstick. I also have the shade Flushed, which is a little bit more of like a peachy pink. And then I also have Oh She's Single, which this was one of his original shades when the brand launched. It's a really light kind of pale nude. So I don't usually wear this one on its own. I usually mix it with other things, but that's Oh She's Single, Flushed, and Blushing. So those are the swatches. I definitely want to use the new one, which is Blushing, because I think it might be pretty with this lip liner. Oh yes. Yeah, I love that shade. I can't tell you how many times I've been to Sephora and I had this in my cart or in my basket or whatever, even online, and then I always talk myself out of it because I'm like, oh, I don't need that lipstick. But when I saw that they had it for free with a purchase, I was like, yes, please. I will be ordering that. Okay, and you know me, you know I'm a gloss person. He has several different glosses. He has Major Shine glosses, which no one talks about these, but they're great. They're like toppers for your lips. They don't have a ton of base pigment to them. They're pretty sheer. They have a lot of shimmer in them, really, really fine shimmer. So I love those. He also has his, I forget the name. Oh, here they are. Major Volume Plumping Glosses. So these came out a few years ago, and these do have a cinnamon taste and smell. So I know some people don't love that about these. I don't mind it, honestly. I think they smell kind of good. They remind me of something, and I can't remember what it is. It's some type of gum or something that has this cinnamon smell, but I have a few of them, but this is the nude one. It's called Superficial. And then this is his newer formula. These are the Plumping Gloss Rich glosses. So these have more pigment and they're a little bit thicker on the lips than his original glosses. I have two of these as well. I have the shade Need Her, which is more of a blush, and then I have Say Less, which is this really light kind of milky pink. Kind of want to use a little bit of this Say Less, like just in the middle, just to see what happens. Now these are on the thicker side. They're a little bit goopy on the lips, so just keep that in mind. But I'm gonna take a little bit of this one right in the center here. Oh yeah, that's so pretty. It just adds a little bit of like that milkiness to the lips. I kind of love that actually. I don't really want to change it. I was gonna also apply this topper, but I mean, we really don't need it over all that. But wow, I love that lip combo. Oh my goodness. Just to show you, I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of this Major Shine because it's just so pretty. But I don't know if you'll see, but it has just really fine shimmer in it and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna kind of wipe off my wand because I don't want it to get the gloss all gross and yucky, but okay, we have 4 things on my lips. You absolutely don't need it, but I just wanted to show you. So pretty. All right, that is everything for this video. I know this is gonna be super long when I go to edit it, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to do a full face of Patrick Ta. And if you watch my content, then you know this is one of my favorite brands of all time. In case that is not obvious, I have pretty much all the products. I have never gotten anything in PR from them. So all of this I purchased myself. Not that that makes any difference with me because it never does, but that's how much I love this brand. I bought all of this stuff with my own money and I just love the products so much. And I just have to say this might be one of the prettiest eye looks I've done. And I'm not kidding. You tell me what you think. I hope I don't forget how I did this because I love how this turned out. Like I would absolutely do this again. I love it. So I hope this video was helpful, enjoyable. I will have everything that I used with the shades and everything in the description box for you. I will also link on YouTube Shopping as well if Patrick Ta's products are included on there. I think they are. And I will make sure to look up these eyeshadow duos. I know they're still out of stock on Sephora. I'm watching every day to see if they come back. So if they do, I will post it in the community tab for sure. But until then, I think they're all still available on Patrick Ta's website. So I will link them from there and I will try to find that discount code that saved me 15% just to save you a little bit of money. If I can find the code, I will put it in the description box for you. If I had to recommend like 3 products from the brand, which is really difficult for me because I love so many things, but of course one of them would absolutely be the blushes. If you know me, you know how much I love these. You can't go wrong with any of them. No matter which one you get, you will love it, I guarantee you. And then you'll want more, I promise. That's just how it works. So definitely the blushes. And honestly, these eye duos are probably in my top 3 now from this brand, just because I love all the shades. I love the wet look. I love the versatility. You can get a sheer wash of color. You can get a lot of sparkle and intensity if you want, just depending on how you apply them and how much you apply. But these are just so beautiful. They really are, especially this one. If I had to pick a 3rd thing, based on how much I use the products, I love this gloss. This topper, the Major Shine Gloss from Patrick Ta. Comes in 3 shades. I only have 2 of them. They were out of stock for a long time, but they are back in stock now on Sephora, which is good. But I really, really love this gloss. I just like a gloss topper. I also like his foundation, but obviously that's going to depend on your skin type and your preferences. But truly, I think this brand has a lot of great products and I just love them. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you do buy anything through any of my links, I do make a commission and it supports my channel. So thank you if you do. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.